Hey y'all, welcome to Kristi's Cropping and Creating. I am Kristi Bolin. I am a Creative Memories Advisor in Rock Hill, South Carolina, and I love helping you guys with your projects, your scrapbooking projects, or other paper crafting projects. So thank you for watching. Today I have an idea that was inspired by a laser paper that Creative Memories offered at one point. And of course, I can't find mine to use it as an example, and I can't show you where I saw an idea using that laser paper recently because I can't find the picture either. So you're just going to have to trust me on it when I show you the sample that I have created out of my own paper and the large square wavy frame. That might not be the exact name of it, but you'll see it in just a moment. And so we're going to use that, and we're actually going to use the other one that is the reverse. It's just regular on the outside, and then it's wavy on the inside. So you'll need both of those. It is not something that is currently available from Creative Memories on our website, but you could probably find one somewhere. So just look around, contact me if you don't already have an advisor. I will be more than happy to help you find one for your custom cutting system collection if you don't already have it. And Secret Box number 2 was released this week. So be sure to grab Secret Box number 2, especially if you got Secret Box number 1, or even if you did not get Secret Box number 1, because Secret Box number 1 is coming back May 9th. You will have the opportunity to purchase it again. And if you purchase all 4 secret boxes this year, Secret Box 1, 2, 3, and 4, you will be qualified for a bonus secret box purchase. This is the first time Creative Memories has done this. So you want to be able to get that towards the end of the year, secret box number 5. They have told us, I don't have the right sample here to show you, but they have told us that all of them will have a border maker cartridge in it, and it's a fun color. This is not it. It's a fun special color since it is a secret box item, and that just makes it fun to be able to collect them all in that special color. So be sure to grab secret box number 2. And again, if you don't have an advisor, I would be happy to help you. I'll show you my website address in a few minutes and my email address in case you do need to reach out to me. So let's dive into our project. Let me switch the screens so you can see my desktop and we can dive in on that. Okay, so this is 2 different samples of my own laser paper that I've created using the Jumbo Wavy Square. I'm not sure. See how, gosh, this paper is this light background. See how the edge of this one is wavy? And the inside is just a regular rounded corner square. And then this is the opposite. The outside is a rounded corner square, and the inside is the wavy frame. So this is what you're going to need. You will need both in order to create, well, I guess technically you don't have to have both to create this one, because I used this one to cut my paper the first time, and then I left my paper and I came along and did the second one. You could probably do that in the reverse order, but I've always heard to cut your biggest piece first. So that's what I would do. Again, I'm not 100% sure it matters in this case, since this frame would still keep it steel to cut along the outside. I might be saying that backwards. Let's see. If I cut out this first and then I put this down, because like the inside's already cut out, my custom cutting system pattern would still hold everything still to cut this out. So I think it would be okay. And let me also show you that you do have a third piece. You could use it on this layout, or you can do like I have done. I've left it off so that I can use it on a completely different layout. Now, that laser piece of paper that was my inspiration for this, it is, or it was, a black, large piece that had little holes in it, and it also had a scalloped edge. The scalloped edge was much closer together, much more scallopy than just this wave. So I, I this is just a similarity. I wish I could find it. I'm so sorry that I can't find it to show you the difference. But look how cute this is and look how it works. Also, I did use the Creative Memories hole punch, and this should still be available on the website. And I needed a pencil to mark where I was going to make my punches, and I needed a ruler, and I ended up finding out that the zero centering ruler was what was going to work best to help me decide how far apart to punch all of my hole punches. And I went along and I punched in a certain distance. On this one, they were, I believe they're right at an inch apart. Yes. So I started out with an inch apart, and then I did add one extra in each of the corners because it needed a little more. Over here, I believe I started with ½ inch apart, and then I came back in and added some more because it looked like it needed a little bit more too. And this one is probably not 100% straight. It may not be 100% even on either one, but hey, it works. It works pretty well, I think, to make an interesting decorative page that was pretty quick to make as well. So my sample is on a white background with the black paper as the frame, and I'm going to work in the opposite direction for this particular video. So I'm going to work on this ivory shimmer paper that's going to be my decorative frame, and I'm going to put it on this hot fudge cardstock and see how we like it. I'm probably going to make this really quick and not do the entire process for you because I don't think you're going to want to sit and watch me make all of these punches. Because it didn't take long at all, but it was still a little more um, time consuming than you would think maybe, and more than that, it's just monotonous. So there's no sense in you watching me complete it, but also I don't even want to do it like on a fast forward reel. I would rather just come back and show you the finished picture in the end. So that's what I'm going to go with. Now, I am going to use the red blade on the outside of this one. I will switch patterns in a minute, and I will use the red blade on the inside. You could probably make an even more interesting frame, let's see, by using either the green blade on the outside first and then the red blade, so it would be like a very, very thin frame. Probably a better idea would be to use the blue blade, since the blue and the red are further apart than the green and the red, because the green is half the distance between the blue and the red. So on the outside, the blue is going to be the largest cut because it's the most far from the edge of the pattern, and the red blade is always going to be the closest on the outside and on the inside. So, and then the green cuts halfway in between the red and the blue. But anyway, so you could probably double up the way you cut along the outside. but that's not what I want to do because I do want that solid edge like what you see. I can't reach it. Like what you see here. I wanted the solid straight edge for this outside frame. Okay. Um, Now when you're cutting with the wavy, oh, before I start cutting, let me say this. There are grippers on the bottom of your frame, and you can use those grippers to line up halfway, the 6 at the top and the bottom, the 6 at the two sides. And my 6s are marked on this particular mat with a blue Sharpie, but if yours are not marked, that's okay because you can plainly see that our 13-inch mat is marked with the halfway point all the way around. The other thing I wanted to tell you is when you're cutting with the wavy frame, it's kind of grabby as, okay, you put your feet in. I'm going to show you this way. You put your feet in, and as you're going along, it kind of grabs when you're trying to turn those curves, even though our blade will help you turn the curve, especially in these big corners. So just know that you might need to take a little bit of patience, and also know that it's okay to lift your hand. It's okay. This blade can spin inside the case, and that helps you cut easier. But what you don't want to do is to move this pattern itself. At all costs, keep it still. So I'm going to keep it still with having a lot of pressure on my arm to make the cuts. And when I'm finished, I'm going to, before I lift the pattern, I'm also going to show you one other thing that will help you to make sure you've cut all the way across, or all the way through, all the way around before you move your pattern, so that if you do still have a place, especially if it's a large spot that still needs to be cut, you can go around a second time and be lined up in the same area as if you were cutting the first time. But if you move the pattern, the chances of you getting it in the same place are very slim. So you don't want to move it until you make sure you have cut all the way around. That corner right there was the hardest to go around. So this is what I wanted to show you. See how I'm lifting this? I can even move my blade. If it's not lifting somewhere and it's more than just a little tiny piece, then I'm going to want to go around a second time. If it's just a little tiny piece, oh no. Okay, no, it was unattached. If it's just a little tiny piece, you could always take your scissors and come in and snip it. Okay? So here is the first piece, and obviously this is beautiful as it is, right? But it just gives it that extra bit of detail when we hole punch it as well. Makes it look like a laser cut paper. Okay, now I'm going to keep my piece of paper where it's at, right there in the center of my mat, and I'm going to switch to my other pattern. I'm still going to use, let me show you those gripper feet if I can get them to show. Can you see the gripper right here? It's in several places. It's in the corners of the pattern, and then it's at the halfway point of each side. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So each of these jumbo patterns have gripper feet in 8 places. So I'm going to take my pattern. I'm going to center it on what I've already cut, and know that the scallops between the outside and the inside, it's not going to match perfectly. I don't have an explanation for that. That's not my fault. And maybe it's not even Creative Memories' fault. Maybe it's the fact that because this is a smaller square, it had to not match 100%. But as you can see, let me find that leftover. As you can see, it still works pretty well to, even though, this hump is bigger than this dip, it still works pretty well to make it look like it's the same thing. So don't worry about that. Just focus on getting your pattern as close to the center as possible, and then everything will work out okay. All right, so here we go. We're going to we're going to hollow this out by cutting along the inside to get the same wave. And it's still going to be a little difficult to go around those scallops. So just remember to apply as much pressure as you need to with your arm. And as you can see, when I did the first one and when I'm doing this one, I'm kind of using my whole arm to keep it still. These top corners are the hardest to go around. And I don't know if that's because it's, right at my right hand and I'm right-handed. So maybe with left-handed people, it would be harder to go around for them, or if it's because it's the corner that is the most, well, that doesn't make sense. I started to say it's the most far from me, but I don't think that makes sense. All right, so here I'm going to make sure that is completely cut through by lifting it out. And you could see that it was already kind of lifting out a little bit anyway. So now I know that that is cut through completely. And ta-da! Here is what I was wanting to work with to begin with. So let me go back to the black and white, and I'm going to show you how I started. Actually, let me get this piece of brown to go under this, since this is the way it will be eventually. But I don't want to adhere it yet because, of course, I'm going to make my marks and my hole punch. Hole punch is. So eventually it will be centered on a piece of paper, and I'm just going to take my ruler and I'm going to place it, straight up and down on the ivory shimmer. And I'm going to start by getting my pencil, and I use a mechanical. I also use the high polymer eraser whenever I need to erase something for scrapbooking. But I'm just going to make a little dot. I'm not going to make one yet over here in this corner, but I'm just going to make a little dot at each of the 1-inch marks. When I did my sample, I actually started with the center, the 0 in the very center. And then after I did it, I went to the left and to the right, but I don't think it really matters in this case. So again, I'm going to center it down here and make a mark. I'm skipping the very corner. I might not have to, but I'm just going to go back in and add a mark after this to finish off those corners. Oops. So I'm going to mark all 4 sides. Again, I will not keep this video going because you don't want all the monotony and slowness of it, but I did want to show you how I mark these. Make sure it's straight on my ivory portion, and once I get all 4 sides of this marked, I will better be able to see what I need to add or take away from for the corners. And that's how I ended up doing 3 of the 3 dots in each of the corners on my sample. It just looked like it needed a little bit more, and it did, and it turned out okay the way I did it. Okay, so I have a mark here and here. You probably can't see that. Let me hold it up and see if you can see. Ah, it's hard to hold. Okay, so I have those 2 marks, and honestly, I did my sample a few days ago, and I think I ended up marking, but I can't say 100% sure I marked all 4 corners. But either way, whether I marked all 4 or if I just came in and eyeballed it where to put that center mark so that each corner would have 3, and it worked out perfectly fine. So I'm going to stop the video long enough. Well, before I do, let me show you this. When I went to punch, this is probably not going to come across very well. I took my punch with the hole down so that I could see where the dot was going in. And again, you probably okay, right there in that hole, you can see where that dot is. So once I had the dot, what I thought was centered under the actual punch itself, that's how I decided when to clamp down and punch. And then I moved along to the next one. And so on this one, it went much faster, but also when you're doing a dark paper, it's harder to see that mark. And so just know that it is going to be hard to see when you're on the dark paper, and hopefully you're going to manage. And at times you either are going crooked or you may feel like you're going crooked because of the illusion of the scallops, but just keep going, and I think you're going to like the finished product. But hang tight. I'm going to pause the video so that I can do some more punches, and I'll come back in a minute to show you what I have completed. Okay, so I did this entire thing in probably 2 minutes. I was off camera, something like that. The video was paused. So again, if I want to come in and add another punch here in these corners, I certainly can. I'm just going to eyeball that and do it. And um, some of this is feeling like this corner feels a little tighter than this one, but I think, again, if it's not 100% perfect, it's going to work out okay, and you're going to be pleased with your result if you'll give this a try. Speaking of giving this a try, give it a try and let me see your sample. Email me your completed project or your completed just try this technique and email me a picture of what you've tried. You can email me at kristibolin@gmail.com. And if you want to do my Wednesday night weekly classes, the classes are recorded, so if you can't be on live, you can watch them at your convenience in a private group. And so email me and ask me about that group. It's called Kristi's Croppers. You don't have to say subscription group, just say you want to be part of Kristi's Croppers. And I will add you to that Wednesday night class. Normally it is a quarterly, you pay for it quarterly, but I'm having to do this quarter a little bit differently. So it's only going to run through the end of May instead of through the end of June. But you can email me and I'll give you the details about that. And if you do need to place an order, you can order at creativememories.com/user/KRISTIBOLIN. I would love to help you out if you don't have an advisor that you're already working with. All right, so see how pretty this is going to be? I'm working on one of my daughter's wedding albums, and I'm thinking that since she had a fall wedding, this ivory shimmer and this hot fudge cardstock will work well for her wedding pictures. And just as an example, if all I did were a few 4x4 photos, you can certainly get 3 in and not cover up too much of the scallops. You could probably get this 4th one in as well, and again, not cover up too much of the scallops. Yeah, you can. So that would be a neat way to do almost like a um, window pane page. It could be a great title page, maybe not for my daughter's wedding photos, but it could be a great title page. I can't get them up. Let me get my multi-purpose tool to help me here. And then if you wanted to do a few 4x6s, maybe not a few, but at least 1 or 2, and I'm saying 4x6, but of course 6x4 when you're going the horizontal direction. Now, I don't like covering up that much of a photo with another photo, but just an example that you could probably make it work. And I don't know for sure that what I'm about to use is a 5x7. Let me do a quick measure. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yes, so it is 5 that way. So this piece of is some sort of gray. It represents a 5x7, so that could again be a nice title page or for a statement photo, especially like from her wedding photos. If I wanted to use it for that, it could be done. So you could always do a combination of 4x6, 6x4, and 4x4s. And then, of course, you can always allow for journaling space. So this is just some quick examples for how to use this page if you choose to make this. And then the other neat thing, which I've already pointed out, is that you've got the extra layouts up to 3 pages. If you do both cuts, the outside edge and the inside edge, then you've got up to 3 pages from one piece of paper, because you've got this piece, you've got this piece that I still need to do my hole punches on, and whether it goes on one of these 2 pages, if you use the hollow out hole, um, you've got this piece as well that could be used on a 3rd page. I really do like putting this frame on the outside and then this on the inside, and then you could use that as a base for some photos. But I also really, really like just using this on a page by itself because of how pretty and elegant this is to be centered on an entire 12 by 12 page. Okay, um, and on my sample and on this, I'm not going to do the hole punches. I think I could, but I want this to be more of a mat than a frame. So that's why I chose to not hole punch either one of these. So before I let you go, I'm going to put this back down and get it on my base just to help with visualizing this. And I'm going to get my ruler back out and show you again how I just went about spacing the hole punch, the hole punch holes. So on the thin frame that you're left with, of course, you've got less space. And I don't know how well y'all can see right here, but if I'm a 1/4 inch from the edge, I am a 1/4 inch from the edge of this frame. That dot right there in that, in the narrow part of the wave, it's going to be really close to that edge. And I wanted to somewhat avoid that. So when I was doing this one, I tried to be careful and not get this close to the edge. You see how close that is? So I tried to space it so that I wasn't always getting quite that close, but I also tried to keep them as straight as possible. And again, just as a reminder, I did each dot half an inch apart on this one. I'm not gonna I'm not gonna keep videoing because this takes a while to mark this side, but I did want to mark some of them, and then I'm going to try to hold it up for you to see better. I'm having a hard time getting my pencil over the edge of the ruler, and I'm not actually making a mark when I thought I was. So I'm going to make just a few more. Actually, you know what? I'll make this whole side, and then I'll stop. It's also it's a little bit hard to keep up with, um to see where each half inch is. So that's why I keep sliding my finger. And of course, my 13-inch mat is helping me with that too. But these blue lines, they all kind of start running in together. And that's why I have to keep sliding my finger down to point out where the next one is. Again, not quite clearing the edge of the ruler. And I did mark a little closer to the edge or to the end on this outside frame, but I didn't go, well, obviously, another half inch would be at the very end of the paper, but I did come down here to the half inch, and then once you mark the other sides, it'll be a little closer together. And then well, not think, I definitely went back in and tried to center one between the two. And that's why each of these has that look in its corner as well. So I did go back in and add one in each place. And let me hold this up so that hopefully you can see all of my little dots. So I've got all those dots. And oops, it's losing focus. Come on, focus here. So I've got all these dots, and I'm going to go back in and I'm going to hole punch all of these, and I will be sure that you can see the finished product in the very end. Hang tight. Well, you don't have to hang tight. I'm just going to pause this for a second. Oh, if I can find my controls, I lost my controls for my Zoom. So I finished punching all of the holes around the frame, and this is what I'm left with. So I hope you enjoyed the tips for how to make your own laser cut paper frame. I know it's not laser cut, but it does mimic that for sure. And then I also wanted to show you one other quick thing. This is a piece of shelf liner. It's, just the shelf liner that you get to line your shelves with in your kitchen or in your bathrooms. And if you will cut a piece to go under your custom cutting system mat, it will help you when you're doing some of these cuts on these frames, or even if it is just a circle or an oval or the heart or whatever other shape from our custom cutting system. It will keep your mat from sliding on the table. So that's just a little tip for you. I learned that from attending one of the Creative Cafe International crops, and I wanted to share that with you so that you can enjoy cutting with your custom cutting system and not having to worry about the mat slipping. So I hope that you will have a great evening or morning, whatever time of day you're watching this. It will air on an evening, so I just kind of automatically say that. But anyway, see you again soon. Hopefully it'll be next week, but who knows, because I'm kind of all over the place in posting these. It's not necessarily weekly like I intend to do, but y'all have a great one. Thank you again for watching Kristi's Cropping and Creating. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, tell all your friends. I've got a big goal to reach this year, and I need a lot of help spreading the word and getting more subscribers to get there. And go have a great rest of the week or weekend, and happy cropping.